What's up, everybody? Let's take a look at Zillow's latest housing market forecast for May 2022 to April 2023. Is Zillow doubling down and still as bullish as ever? Or have they come around to what most industry insiders are saying and revised their predictions? We'll compare it to Redfin, and I'll give you my opinion as well. So let's just dive right in. This report came out on May 19th, 2022, where Zillow now predicts home price growth will be 11.9 over the next 12 months. This has definitely changed since last month's forecast, where Zillow predicted the home price growth would be 14.9% over the next 12 months. So it seems like Zillow keeps revising their forecast month over month, and they're getting less and less, but they're still projecting double-digit home price growth. So let's take a look at this latest report and see how they're coming to their numbers. Zillow's home value forecast calls for a gradual slowdown in annual home value growth from the current pace of 20.9% to 11.6% growth through April 2023. They go on to say that over the next 3 months, Zillow expects home values to grow 5.2%, down from an expectation for 5.5% growth from last month's forecast. They also lowered their forecast for existing home sales, now predicting a 5.73 million sales in 2022. That would mark a 6.4% decrease from 2021. Although Zillow's housing market forecasts keep decreasing month after month, they still are predicting a very strong housing market in the next 12 months. This is vastly different from what I'm seeing all over the news and all over YouTube, where everyone seems to be predicting an imminent housing crash. It's also very different from what Redfin's been saying. Although Redfin has been saying the housing market's going to cool down, and they've supported that by their projections, they have never said the housing market is about to crash. Let's take a look at Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index, which indicates buyer activity and will help us predict if the market's going to slow down. According to the Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index from May 19th, Redfin reports a decline in 8% year over year, ending with the week of May 15th. This is the largest decline since April of 2020, when basically the pandemic shut down all buyer activity. And just an FYI, Redfin determines their home buyer demand index by looking at the amount of showings that people are requesting by Redfin agents, as well as other home buying activities. Redfin also reports that people that did the search homes for sale on Google has gone down 11% since this time last year. Add to that, mortgage applications were down 15% since a year ago, and all of this together really indicates that the market is definitely slowing down. Now, this is no surprise to most of us who have seen, as interest rates have gone up and up week after week, that some buyers are simply getting priced out of the market. Some are no longer approved for the loan they once were 3, 4, 5 months ago, and others just don't want to pay these high prices mixed with the high interest rates. And what's interesting is that some buyers are now on the sidelines waiting because they've simply been priced out of the market. And now some sellers are getting some FOMO.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Of wanting to get into this seller's market before it passes, so they're quickly putting their house on the market and they're trying for that really high price. But in some parts of the country, these sellers are just simply too late. And we are starting to see some price reductions. Daryl Fairweather, Redfin's chief economist, says rising mortgage rates have caused the housing market to shift, and now home sellers are in a hurry to find a buyer before demand weakens them further. She goes on to say that not only are more homes hitting the market each week, but sellers are dropping their price at rates not seen since before the pandemic. The sudden pressure on sellers is good news for those home buyers who can still afford to buy at today's higher mortgage rates. These trends point to an even cooler housing market this summer. Zillow, on the other hand, still stands by a very strong housing market in the coming year. In the history of the Zillow Home Value Index, which dates back to 2000, the current projection of 11.9% growth has only been seen in these recent months or back for several months in 2005. And while 5.73 million existing home sales would be a decrease from the amazing year of 2021, it would still mark the second best calendar year since 2006. So in essence, they're standing by their projections of a continued strong market. Zillow says that their downward revisions are coming from the spiking mortgage rate, inventory gains, and lower than expected pending home sales and mortgage application data. They say they will closely monitor the labor market conditions in the coming months as they start to create their future forecasts. Zillow writes that current labor market conditions are strong, but the impact of more rate hikes from the Fed Reserve is uncertain. Continued strength in the job market would keep pressure on housing demand and thus home value growth. So to sum it up this far, Zillow is still predicting a very strong housing market, although it's decreased month over month, but they still say it's going to be strong, and they do say they're going to keep their eye on the labor market conditions and the rising interest rates, and will continue to revise their forecast. I think they're probably going to keep predicting the forecast will go down again and again, month over month, if it's anything like what we've seen over the last 5 months. Redfin, on the other hand, has always been more conservative, although they also keep predicting a slower down of the market. They have not said it's going to crash anytime soon, but they do show some real data that lets us know kind of what's happening now in the market today. So I want to take a look at some of their graphs because it's a really good indication of what's happening right now in our housing market. So these graphs are the key takeaways from over 400 US metro areas. The first one shows that the median home sale price was up 16% year over year to a new record of $398,500. The median asking price of newly listed homes increased 18% year over year for a new all-time high of $416,425. This next graph is like kind of shocking. Take a look at this one. The monthly mortgage payment on the median asking price home rose to a record high of $2,447 at the current 5.25% mortgage rate. This was up 43% from $1,706 a year earlier when mortgages were 3%. That is quite a jump. Now let's take a look at the active listing. The active listings are the number of homes for sale that are active at any different period. Fell 15% year over year. The next one shows 55% of homes that went under contract had an accepted offer within the first 2 weeks on the market, up from 54% a year earlier. 41% of the homes that went on the market had an accepted offer within 1 week of going on the market, up from 40% a year earlier. And homes that sold were on the market for a record low median of 15 days, down from 19.7 days a year earlier. A record 57% of the homes sold above list price, up from 49% a year earlier. And this next one I know you're going to find interesting. On average, 4.4% of the homes for sale each week had a price drop. Overall, 17.8% dropped their price in the past 4 weeks, up from 12.1% a month earlier and 9.5% a year ago. This was the highest share since October of 2019. So take a look at both of these graphs. And then finally, the average sale to list ratio, which measures how close homes are selling compared to their asking price, rose to an all-time high of 102.9%. In other words, the average home sold for 2.9% over the asking price. I have to say, here in the DC area, our homes have been selling for much higher than 2.9%, but I want to know what's happening where you are. So I know this has been a lot of information and all these graphs, but it's really important for you to have the most up-to-date information so you can make the best decision for you and your family if you're thinking about buying or selling in the current housing market. If you do get some value out of these videos, please consider sharing them with a friend, smashing that like button, and subscribing to our channel. We really do appreciate it. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm and motivates us to make more videos. And if you are thinking about moving to DC or Maryland and you'd like our help, just shoot us an email. We'll set up a Zoom and we'll get you started. Thanks for watching. Bye.